First of all, yes, I am eating a raw sausage. Secondly, I remembered what I was going to talk about. Because, I hate the fact. You know what my favorite Disney movie is? The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2. Those are my two favorite Disney movies. And do you know why? They're the most realistic. I believe this video is still up on my channel, and if it is, I'll link it down below. If not, I'll re-record that shit because it's a very short video and it's very easy. I still have the whole thing memorized, but long story short, Beauty and the Beast, it's not as great a fairy tale as everybody thinks. It's just, and there's a long explanation for it, but long story short, it's still, it's easy to make someone fall in love with you when you can, trap them. And he fought off a pack of wolves with his bare hands, and he is this fucking prince with this huge-ass castle and all these goddamn servants at his beck and call. And even though she fell in love with him as a monster, it wasn't until he was the handsome prince that she actually kissed him. And you could say the whole thing, well, maybe it's a metaphor that in real life, once you start to love somebody, you only see them as your Prince Charming, blah, 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 and all that bullshit. But that's just not how it actually happened. I mean, in the actual thing, it was magic, which transformed him back into his true self, who was a handsome prince. Anyways, long story short, Beauty and the Beast kinda hate it for multiple reasons, but The Hunchback of Notre Dame, if you think about it, for one thing, there's no magic spells or any of that bullshit. I mean, Quasimodo, he's just a freak. And that's just who he is. That's how the world works sometimes. He was born with physical deformities. A lot of people are, and because of those deformities, many people fear him, and they hate him. They treat him cruelly, and that's the entire story. There's no magical spells. There's no Prince Charming and all this other bullshit. It's just a guy who looks weird, and people just treat him differently because he looks differently, and he doesn't fit in with them and stuff. But then one day he meets this beautiful girl who he kind of falls in love with, but she doesn't want him. I mean, she likes him, she thinks he's a great guy, but she ends up marrying the knight in shining armor, who is very handsome, but doesn't have much of a brain in his head. But he's a really great guy and all, I get it. He's a really sweet, caring person. Good sense of virtue and all that bullshit. But still, she got with the knight in shining armor. And then, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it, in The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, Quasimodo meets a new girl who, I don't know, it's hard to call a cartoon ugly. But, I mean, I don't see that much wrong with her, but apparently, in their world, she is considered, less than, and so, she's like, oh, I'm so ugly, no one could ever love me. And then she meets Quasimodo, who even she doesn't really like him that much, and it's well, this ugly girl who couldn't really get anybody better ends up settling for the ugly guy who couldn't get anybody. So, I mean, that's honestly seems like that's the most realistic Disney shit that Disney has ever done. That is the most realistic shit that possible. Also, it's also the reason why I refuse to watch Inside Out. Because not everybody is ruled by their fucking emotions. First of all, I don't even get disgusted by anything anymore. I've eaten shit out of a trash can, okay? Once you've been homeless, you lose disgust very quickly. And you just gotta find whatever the fuck there is. But, even though emotions can play a huge part of everything that you do in your life, that doesn't mean that they're the know-all, end-all. I mean, I've had a lot of times, sadness is the strongest active emotion, and all I want to do is just take a knife and stab myself. But you know what? Logic is don't be doing that. The logical parts of my brain are in more control of me than emotions ever were. And I don't know, just for that reason alone, I just don't want to see it. And everyone's just talking about, oh, it's the best thing ever. And I'm just the more you talk it up, the less I want to see it, because when you hype something up, it can only be a disappointment. The only two movies that have ever been incredibly overhyped and did not disappoint were The Dark Knight and Guardians of the Galaxy. Every other movie did not live up to the hype. Those are the only two movies that ever lived up to and even surpassed the hype. Everything else fucking fell flat. And there are a lot of great movies out there that I really just can't stand watching, specifically because everybody hyped it up and it ended up just being okay. I've gotten way off track. But yeah. So Hunchback of Notre Dame and Hunchback of Notre Dame 2. The most realistic Disney movies ever, which is why they're my favorites. Also, Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, the best thing about it was actually the soundtrack. Jennifer Love Hewitt played the girl that falls for Quasimodo, and she had an original song on there. And you know what? A lot of people have issues with Jennifer Love Hewitt, and I do too. Not even that necessarily that she's a horrible actress per se, but like, has she ever been in anything good? I mean, the only thing I liked was Ghost Whisperer, and like, I liked the first season. I was able to stay through the second. After that, I gave up completely. Other than that, I can't think of a single Jennifer Love Hewitt movie or TV show that I've actually enjoyed. But I love her music. I followed her entire career, starting with like Cool With You back when she was a teenager. I think that might have even been before her fame in fucking I Know What You Did Last Summer. That was the movie, right? With Buffy. So yeah, and like, she's had a lot of really great songs out there. It's like she has this one movie called If Only. The movie itself sucks, but there's a song called Love Will Show You Everything. Very beautiful song. And on this movie, Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, there's a song called I'm Gonna Love You. Even if you don't necessarily like her voice, I feel like this is it's still just an amazing song with a great message, and I feel like this song just perfectly describes what love should be. It's not always like that in this world, unfortunately, but this song is what love should be. And I have cried myself to sleep many times listening to this song, because I know in my heart it's never going to happen. I mean, back to the whole Inside Out thing and how emotions don't rule us. Because like me, one emotion that's very strong and present is like loneliness and like longing for love and stuff like that. And so these guys keep teaming up, trying to convince me to go after something, and that like, I really want love. Like, in my heart, I do want like somebody that I can hold in my arms and stuff. But my brain is always like, no, are you stupid? That's never gonna happen. It's not worth the trouble. Fuck all that shit. It's not worth it. And so, somewhere along the way, I just stopped trying, because even though I technically still want it, I also know that based on past experiences, it's just never gonna happen. So why bother fighting? You know? This video is all over the fucking place. This is why you don't record YouTube vlogs at 3 in the morning.